What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Reality TV RHAPpy Hour. My name is Jordan Parhar, and today we are back talking about Big Brother Canada 5 live on RHAPhasawebsite.com. It is a very somber day for some people. It is a very great day for some people. We're here to break it all down for you, filled with emotion, as you can see with my pal Sarah Miller here right beside me. Let's introduce the panel, though, that we have here on this episode of the RHAPpy Hour. First, we didn't hear from her last night. I can't remember the last time I was on a podcast with this lady, but I love her so much. Give it up for Melissa Deni, ladies and gentlemen. Melissa, how are you?
I am okay. I feel sad, but also, it was a really exciting episode. So, I had a great time watching it.
So crazy. And it was a double eviction. So I figured, well, initially I thought, why don't I get double the trouble and get two guests, which I planned and reached out to people. But then I had someone text me like half hour before the episode saying, I need to watch this with someone, please. So first, let's introduce, I talked about her already. It is Sarah Miller from BB Can't 2. Mumsy, how are you?
I'm very sad. If you can't tell, I've been crying. Shocker. But yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Happy to have you. Lots of emotions. I was consoling Mumsy during a lot of this episode. We were watching this.
Literally holding me.
at one point. Yes, at one point. But if you were not our original guest, but so happy to have you here. We've got triple the trouble on a double eviction. Not a triple eviction, though. Next on the panel is a very, very fun, just great personality. I love her so much. There was one point in this broadcast beforehand that two of her were on the screen, and I was hoping something happened in the space-time continuum, and she cloned herself. It's Pili Nemer, ladies and gentlemen. Pili, how are you?
I'm great. Crazy episode. Ups and downs, but that's what Big Brother is all about.
And you know about double evictions, Pili, which I guess we'll get into.
I went home on a double.
Yeah. So there you go. So yeah, well, you went the first.
I went home on a double, and then I met Pili for the first time on her double.
Oh yeah, there we go.
That was the highlight of my eviction, Mumsy.
All right. Well, this woman does not know what it's like to go home in a double because she did so well. She got all the way to final three. It's Ashleigh Wood, ladies and gentlemen. Ashleigh, how are you?
I'm good. I'm sad. My palms are still kind of sweaty and I'm anxious still, but it was a really good episode, but not really.
Yeah, I think, right? I mean, I think for a lot of us that are Netta fans, that was a really tough episode to watch, but it was very exciting for some people. So, that's Big Brother. It's crazy. It's a crazy game. We are live here on RHAPhasawebsite.com, just to let you guys know. So we're going to be monitoring the chat room there. If you can't access the chat for some reason, you can go to chatwing.com/RHAPpy Hour. We will have that open throughout the episode. We're also going to be taking your questions, hopefully in the later half of the show. If you want to send those in, you can tweet me. I am at Jordan Parhar on Twitter. You can use hashtag RHAPpy Hour. Also, at the very end of this podcast, there is going to be an announcement from me. So you probably want to stick around. Maybe not, but I think it's probably worth it to actually stick through and watch this episode. Because it is an important thing that I want to address. So before we get into that, though, let's talk about the episode, guys. I don't even know where to begin. Pili, you're drinking your water bottle, so I won't start with you. Ashleigh, let's go to you. Let's talk about Netta. That was so tough to watch. Oh my goodness.
Honestly, regardless of how you feel about Netta this season or whatever happened in the game, she is an amazing player, and how she, the emotion she had at the end there on stage with Arissa, you can't not feel bad for the girl and say that you have a heart. That was, I was crying sitting just watching it happen. She was just absolutely heartbroken. And I think she's a little bit hard on herself too, because she's like, an hour. She's like, it was an hour I had to play the game or whatever. And she's like, it was an hour and my immunity was over and I was out. And I'm just really hoping she's not too hard on herself, because she's truly an amazing person for sure.
Yeah, Ned's is great, and it just sucks because, they can hear those boos and stuff when Netta's she's trying to pitch, that she's going after Ika, but then it just pumps in the house and Ika can hear it. She's going at Netta. I mean, just a crazy sequence of events. Pili, what's going through your mind watching that? Did you have any PTSD because you went home in a double?
Yes, like I honestly like the fact that she got the immunity itself. That speaks volumes of the girl, like how good of a player she is. That speaks volumes because that means Canada really like she probably would have been evicted the first week because that's how good she is. Like that's a compliment. Um, she really played her ass. Like she played a great game in my books. It does suck to go home in a double because you don't have you don't have a whole week to build relationships, to develop friendships or conversations. Like you don't have that time, so it's really tough to, like in Ika's case, like she was on her like she wouldn't let her talk, she wouldn't let her plead to Cindy, right? So she was in a tough spot.
I actually don't know this, so I want to ask Ash or Pili if you want to jump in here. Ash, I'll throw it to you. In terms of like the double, you know, we saw that time that, you know, where Ika was like talking and they're making that pitch, like in real time, how long was that? Was that like 20 minutes, do you think, like when you guys had your doubles and your triples?
Not even. It's
No.
it's genuinely, it's almost as fast as you see it on there. Maybe a couple minutes give and take, but it's such a fast process, and during ours, everyone's crying, everyone's arguing. It's just like it's a huge scramble, and it's just so much emotion. And maybe the emotion and the scramble made it seem like it was that much more faster, but it was such a fast thing.
Like you saw on Netta's face when she was trying to talk to Cindy right after Ika had spoken to her, she was almost shaking. She's like, what? She's like out of breath. Like they didn't do anything. She was out of breath because how nervous she was, how like little time they have to switch, vote, play, all this.
Yeah, it's really just so quick. Melissa, this whole Ika versus Netta thing, this has been brewing for a while. Did you see it playing out the way it did tonight based on what we've seen on feeds the last couple weeks?
I feel like I was hoping it wouldn't end this way just because I wanted to see, you know, a big fallout or some sort of big, you know, confrontation or I don't know, something more than this. I just feel like we didn't get to see Netta try and campaign. We didn't get to see like two sides actually like, you know, rise up against each other. I was just kind of hoping to see more of a showdown. And instead we just got this like little peter out of like, okay, well now Netta's gone and now you know, it's Ika versus, I guess, maybe Bruno and Kevin, but they're kind of like pretending to still be on the same side. So it's just not as exciting because it was really like Bruno and Kevin were kind of in the middle and it was just Ika versus Netta. And now we don't get to see that. And so that's mainly why I'm disappointed tonight. But at the same time, it made for great TV watching Cindy make that decision. And, you know, I don't know if that's the best thing for her game, but it was fun for us to watch. So
well yeah, let's talk about that, because what do you think about that, Sarah? We were talking about this earlier. Yeah. I think Cindy played that really well. I mean, the whole Cindy is, and you can tell Cindy is genuinely like torn up. She doesn't know what to do. And Ike is the one who's like, do it. So, I mean, everybody sees it as, okay, this isn't Cindy's move. This is Ika telling her to do that. And at the same time, this is a huge thing on Cindy's resume that she can carry with her at the end of the game, because I know there's people out there who are like, oh, well, Cindy's in a good spot, but she hasn't done anything. Cindy just took out, you know, the greatest player in the history of BB Can on this episode. So what did you think about that, Sarah? I mean, she is still aligned with Cindy, but she's aligned with Ika, so she's in the middle here. It's such a weird spot.
Yeah, I think it's a tough, I mean, you could tell just how hard of a time Cindy was having with it. I think, you know, and I love Netta, but I think it is a testament to the fact that Ika's social game is just that much better, because obviously Cindy was trying to decide in that moment. Ika put her in a position where she had to choose Ika or Netta. Mm-hmm. And in that moment, she chose Ika. I think she also knew that, I mean, Netta's a beast. I don't know that without this power, she would have got this far, to be honest. I think that, you know, Netta is one of those people that nobody wants to be sitting to in final two. And especially in the first couple of weeks, now that she's shown that she can actually win competitions, you don't want Netta post-jury. You don't want her to be on the opposite side of her and have to go up against her the next few weeks. So, you know what? I'm a believer that, you know, you make the best decisions you can in the moment, and they're either awesome or they're terrible, and you don't know until it's done. You just don't. That's how the game works. You know, so I think in the next couple of weeks, we're going to see if this was really a good move for Cindy. I think it puts Bruno and Kevin in kind of the target category now because Netta's gone. And so who's the next two people? Ika's got herself deep with those newbies. She's got herself in with Dimitri. So I don't think she's in much trouble just yet. But I think this means bad news for Kevin and Bruno.
Oh no, Pili. Oh no, Ashleigh, our boys. Well, Melissa, can you lay out like what's the game board looking like right now? Now that we've plucked Netta out of here, where are Bruno and Kevin kind of on an island by themselves?
It kind of seems that way. Maybe add Jackie, and I maybe add Cindy. Like at this point, I don't know where Cindy's going. I have no idea, but maybe add Jackie to that. Maybe add Dylan. It's so tough because now we don't know. The big driving force behind everything, or at least in my opinion, was Netta. So it was like Netta, Ika. Now Netta's gone, and I feel like there's going to be a shuffling, at least on that side. I don't know, but I think that, you know, Ika's got her side still. They're still intact, but now the other side's kind of going to be scrambling, I think.
Yeah, I think it's a really tough thing. What's Ash? Like, what do you think the move is for Kevin Bruno here in this spot? I mean, I don't really know if they have a ton of options coming up here.
They gotta win, even though it's like a endurance kind of HOH that might be coming up. It's just I want to see them kind of win an HOH. I think it's finally their turn, but yeah, maybe they can bank on Jackie, Dylan. Like they're kind of. I think their backs are for the first time really against the wall. Like I feel like they're really gonna have to, like they've kind of been in trouble periodically throughout the whole thing, but this time I think they gotta pull out something, which maybe they will.
Maybe they will. Pili, what did you think about Kevin and Bruno not giving Netta like a sympathy vote, going along with the house and voting? Because you could see Kevin was clearly torn up about it, but he ultimately did decide to vote out Netta there.
I think Netta knew Bruno and Kevin were with her the whole entire time. Like they were attached to the hip. So I think that was just solid to not look like they were working with her kind of thing. Just like a solid going with the house kind of vote. Because they did look torn. Like it wasn't like I'm going to go again. Like that was just like a meaningless thing for them, I think.
In terms of the Ika, let's talk about Ika here for a little bit. First, Sarah, I want to ask you, as somebody who is very close with Ika and with Netta, what was it like for you to watch that all play out where two very close friends of yours are like screaming at each other some hurtful things that had to be, it was hard enough for me to watch that. It was hard for the fans, I think, to an extent. I can't imagine what that was like for you.
I just don't know any other situation where you have to deal with this.
Here's a newsflash. There is no other situation. There is none on TV in a thing where they have like an hour to get rid. Like, it's just so crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly don't even know what to say. It was heartbreaking. It was absolutely heartbreaking. I hated it. I hated every minute of it. I love them both. I wanted them both to do well. I would have loved to see them just like go deep together. But
why don't you think they were able to work things out?
You know, I think that there are some fundamental aspects to both of their personalities that just tend to clash, whether it's in real life, whether it's in the game. In real life, those are moments where you can push some things under the rug and you can move forward and you can be the bigger person, depending on who's misbehaving at the time. But when you're in the house fighting for $100,000, you just don't let that shit go.
Yeah, I think that's well said. It's a crazy game. It's a crazy game. So I guess, talking about just Ika's position then here now, Melissa, this is like Ika's now the top dog in the house, correct?
I mean, I think so. Also, just FYI, feeds are back up, and they're starting the HOH comp right now. It seems like it's some sort of trivia endurance thing. They have their hands on buzzers.
Oh,
I don't know how this is working.
Okay, is it like the pressure cooker in BB6, kind of?
I can't quite tell. I'm trying to ask the chat because I missed the rules, but it looks like they have to hold their hand on a buzzer. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but that's what it's looking like to me. So that's going on. Sorry, I'm very distracted.
No worries. You're doing your best. Appreciate it. Yeah, it's a huge HOH here. So yeah, I mean, this whole thing, it's crazy how Ica though, like I think that she's made this power move. Do you think that this is something that is going to help her game long-term or hurt her game long-term, Ashleigh?
I honestly think it might help her because I feel like she has herself situated so well with the newbies, and Netta, Bruno, Kevin, like Cindy, we thought was clearly with them, but obviously maybe Ica had a little bit more grasp on her. They're such big players. They're huge players, but you take one of those big players out, she's got a little, it's not easier. It's not going to be easier. Well, it'll be a little easier, but it won't be easy is what I'm trying to say. So you knock out Netta. Now she still has the newbies, and that side is now smaller. So I was, for her game, it was a really, really good move.
Yeah, oh, man, I'm still such like,
Well,
I don't
we've known for so many hours, and we're
Well,
still
yeah, we saw spoilers, so yeah, we
Yeah.
were yeah, geez, that was not good for the Netta fans out there, but yeah, it's a crazy game. It's a crazy game, and I don't really know what to say. Let's just talk about your just general takes on the season a little bit here, guys, because I'm sure people are curious to hear your. Actually, before we do that, though, I do want to talk about one thing. I just remembered we saw when Netta was evicted how like devastated she was. I mean, we saw like she's crying, like, oh my god, this is just so bad. So we were both of us watching, Mumsy and I. We're just like, oh my God, that's just like, we felt so bad for her. Cause I mean, at the end of the day, there are a lot of people, and I get it. There are a lot of people that don't like Netta. A lot of people don't like what I'm saying here, trying to be positive about the situation. But Netta's a human being. All of these people are human beings. They are real people. And to have, you're playing this game where you think you're loved and everyone's booing you whenever you're saying stuff, and then you get voted out. I mean, your dream is crushed. It's pretty devastating. So I think it's understandable to see Netta be that upset in that moment. But we did see there was the Facebook Live that she did with Arissa, which I guess is a couple hours after the eviction. So Mumsy, from watching that, what was just basically like, what were Netta's spirits like during that? Because I was getting the show set up, so I didn't really see everything.
She was definitely in better spirits. She had composed herself. She changed. She looks like she's she's processing things the way Netta processes them. She's looking at them very game related. She's not taking a lot of this stuff personally at this point anyways. There's a lot of time for her to sit and stew in jury. So who knows how she'll feel next week. But it seems like she composed herself. She seemed in much better spirits. She was laughing, joking around, telling Roya to not listen to the haters and that the next person she wants to see in jury is her cat. So you know what I mean?
Aww.
She's definitely... that was a shocked, devastated, my time is over Netta, and now this is a more composed, like, this is a game and I got outplayed or whatever. She did talk a lot about how she was in her mind trying to balance having this power. Like, how do I play it? Do I sit around and do nothing, or do I make power moves? She was really talking about how she wanted to do what she thought would make Canada happy. So I think the fact that, Canada is so unhappy with her when it comes to social media is going to be probably hard on her. But it's obvious she was trying to do what she thought Canada wanted to see.
Melissa, you watched that too. Is there anything interesting that you got from the Facebook Live?
Well, I found it interesting that Arissa asked her who's she rooting for to win, and she first said Dre, which I thought was kind of random because I didn't think that her and Dre were close at all, or that she thought Dre was playing a good game at all. So that was kind of surprising. And then of course she said Bruno and Kevin. But yeah, I found that surprising. And also I feel it sucks for Netta that now she's going into jury because she knows that Canada hates her because according to all the boos and the cheers and all that, but now she can't figure out why. She just has to sit by herself and stew about it. And I feel like that's just got to be so painful. To not have any idea what you did wrong, but know that something happened and you're on the bad end of it. I feel like that sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you from experience, being alone in the jury house is not fun. It sucks. That I thought my thing was bad. I got blindsided. I didn't know why I went home, whatever. I think Netta's is much worse because she knows why she went home. She knows Canada wasn't happy with her, but she doesn't know why, and she doesn't have, there's all these other things she doesn't know, and it's just, yeah, I just can't imagine the stress that she's undergoing right now. Melissa, Brent was in the chat saying that the power was not the reason she went home. It was her fights with Ika. Do you have any, what do you think about that? The whole, was it like these fights with Ika, like how long, just to refresh my memory, and just, and was there anything like recent that I've missed? Like what was the, like, do you agree with that? Or do you think the power was the main catalyst for her going home?
I watched Brent's Periscope that he just did. And basically he said that she should have just given Ika this one win. She should have let Emily stay and Dylan go home, because Ika's been not having her pawns stay this entire time. It's always been whatever Netta wants. And this time Ika really wanted to have Emily stay, and Netta just wouldn't give it to her. And Brent was saying that if she had just given Ika this one win and showed Ika that she was, a useful part of the alliance, then Ika might not have turned on her the way that she did, or at least maybe Netta would have been safe this 1 week. It wouldn't have been such an automatic, I'm going against you. And the fights, I mean, there was that recent one where it wasn't really that much of a fight. It was more just, it was more subdued, but they were kind of coming at each other. And Ika did her comment about like, well, you should look in the mirror if you see your face, blah, blah, blah. And that one was kind of just like, okay, ridiculous. But the way that it was retold to people was not accurate. Netta was saying that Ika yelled at her, and that she was saying, like yelling at her in front of Emily and revealing alliances, which wasn't the case. Maybe Ika shouldn't have been so sassy with her, but still, it wasn't as big of a fight as it was made to be. And that is what was the catalyst for a lot of the behind the scenes conversations with Cindy that Ika had. Where she basically said, like, Netta's lying, she'll tear apart our alliance. And I'm sorry I keep talking, but I have a lot to say.
Keep going. You're good.
Today's episode, when they were in the storage room and Netta was trying to strategize or trying to get Cindy not to put her up. And then Ika came in and was like, no, I'm not going to give you a minute. First of all, I loved that she wouldn't give her a minute, because it was like, don't let her say anything to Cindy. You have to get in there. But then Netta, she started to reveal the part about the Six, that Ika was in the Six alliance, but then she started just kind of repeating stuff back that Ika was saying and kind of turning it into childish insults, when it should have just been like, look, I'm on my butt's on the line. We were in an alliance together. Like, here's the facts, and get Ika in trouble, at least with Dre and William and all of them. And I wonder if there's going to be repercussions for that.
Interesting. Okay. So certainly could happen. I think that Ika has definitely put herself in the spotlight with some of the other things she's done, but now especially this and this huge blow up, like, I think that's just going to put the microscope is just going to be even bigger on her. Let's take some questions, guys. Pili, I'll throw this one to you. This one comes from Kirsten McInnes. Kirsten says, this move is stupid with an S, right? Right? Or am I being blinded by my love for Netta? What do you think? Was that a bad move by Cindy there?
As much as I love Netta, no, it wasn't a bad move. No, like Momsy was saying earlier, no one would have liked being sitting next to Netta, and that was the only chance they had. Who else was gonna put her up? They had to backdoor her. She's too smart to not be a backdoor plan, and no one in the house was going to, except for Ika, I guess. But no, it was a great move of her. Good for her. I mean, I love Netta, and I'm really sad to see her go that way, especially, but it was a good move, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. I think, I love Netta, but strong move for Cindy, Pili.
Cindy's so, we witnessed that in our season, JP, when, she got rid of you. She loved you. She really, really genuinely liked you, and she voted you out. She knows how to put her feelings aside, and a lot of us don't.
Yeah, that's very true.
It's a tough, she was in a tough position, and she was genuinely hurt, but she knew for her own sake of her game, it was better to get rid of her, and she went for it. And like you guys are saying, she is building a wicked resume for a final two position. So we can't blame her for it. It was a really good move in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Melissa, I was going to ask you this: is Cindy? She can easily kind of just fade back a little bit now too, can she not, with this move?
I think she can. It just depends how she wants to play it. But I definitely think that there's bigger fish to fry, I think. I don't think that Ike is going to be coming after her or anyone from that side. No. I think the only people who could potentially be like, whoa, now I don't know about Cindy are Bruno and Kevin. But that's 2 people. I think that as much as it's like this definitely could come back to bite her. We have no idea. It could come back to bite her because I feel Netta was loyal to Cindy. I feel like Netta and Cindy kind of had a bond. So it could totally come back to bite her, but it was great TV and it's great for the resume. And everyone on Twitter is saying that now you and Netta are in the same club.
Wait, what did they say? Wait, what did they say?
Because you've both been evicted by Cindy in some sort of crazy scenario blindside situation.
There you go.
So how does it feel?
Well, there you go. Well, I am wearing the Netta jersey tonight, the Black and Saint. So it is an honor to be mentioned in the same breath as Netta. I wish she wasn't in this category with me because that sucks. It sucks. But we feel for you, Neds.
But hey, Cindy's really in there to play the game. She's not screwing around this time. Like props to her, honestly.
No, Cindy is playing. Cindy is playing a fantastic game. Yeah. She's doing a great job. Ash, how do you feel about Cindy 2.0 compared to 1.0? And did you think that she had this in her?
Where do I even start with that? Like looking at last season, our season, she was just all over the place, and I don't think she ever really knew what she was doing, and she was just kind of being loud and boisterous with her moves to kind of make a scene. And this season that she's on now, she's just way more collected. She's way more calm. She's thinking about things more. She's not just doing things to make a scene. So the fact that she went back and she changed something, because obviously what she did the first time around wasn't good. So the fact that she's gone back and changed something and knew that she had to change something, it's good for her. Like, I'm very, very proud of the game she's playing.
The composure in particular, Ash, I think that's a really good point. Like we saw when she won that HOH, like Cindy was just like, okay, like, yeah, I won, but she didn't go crazy or anything. She's really thinking, before she's making any of these huge moves. And it was especially, putting up Netta. She really took her time. She thought it out. She was like, I don't know if I want to do it. And then she went ahead and did it. So no, kudos to Cindy there. This next question is from John Heddles. John says, how unfair is it that they gave Netta this ridiculous advantage, but then they took it away during double eviction? So so basically it's just I guess the question is, Netta's given this huge edge, puts kind of a really big target on her back, and then they make it so she's vulnerable at the double. That's the first time. Mumsy, you're making some faces here.
I just feel like you could look at it from either scenario, right? She was given this immunity. So from some people's point of view, it's like if you can't build the connections you need in 4 weeks or 5, how many weeks are we in?
5 weeks.
5 weeks. You know what I mean? You have 5 weeks of safety. If that's not enough time to keep you from going home in a double eviction, I mean, how much more of a gift can you be given? But at the same time, from the other angle, I hate this stupid power. I think it sucks. I think it never should have been on a vets versus newbies season. Oh, yeah. I think, it was a terrible power for this specific type of show. And right from the beginning, we were all together watching the episode where she got the power. And I said right from the beginning, like, I am worried about this power. I don't think she will want it. I think it will hurt her in this game. And well, here we are, double eviction, booted.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting thing there.
I win, Big Brother.
Arisa did say that there was a curse to it, and I think that's what it was.
Yeah, well, I remember Pili when it first came out was you messaged me and you're like, hey, we got to promote like Team Kev and get people to vote for Kev. But I didn't promote anything because I was just like, I don't really know what the ramifications
if it's a good
they're going to be. Yeah, and ultimately, yeah, I do think it was a bad thing. And it's ironic because I think production put this in because they were like, oh, this is a fail safe. It's going to protect one of our favorites and it's going to keep them safe for like a month. And it'll make sure that Netta is not the first boot. But as a result of this, we saw Mark go home first, but then we also lost Dallas, Cass, Gary, and now Netta, 4 of the vets in 5 weeks. Like, I do not think that production saw this coming at all. So altogether,
sorry, I keep interrupting.
No, go ahead, Pili, go ahead.
But I can see where Mums is coming from. Like, I think it was more of a curse, like more of a downside to like a good side, because yeah, I think it hurt her game a little bit more, unfortunately.
Let's take this next question. This one is from @MichelleT. Carroll. Michelle says, do you think there will be a jury member that goes back into the house? So what do we think about this question, Pili? Do we think that we're going to see someone from jury go back in?
Well, to this season, I mean, every single season we've had a returnee, whether it's jury, whether it's pre-jury, we've had a returning player. So, and that's a little scary, but yeah, I don't think Big Brother is done with twists right now. Like actually, they've taken it easy on them. From our season, Jordan, I don't know if you remember, but we had an instant and a double by now.
Oh, I remember, Pili. I remember an instant and a double. No, it was an instant. It was like an instant and a triple almost. I feel like, right?
So yeah. I feel like right now, despite the like vets against newbies and all this weird things that they're doing, I think they're taking it easy on them.
Yeah, I mean, I think they were a little crazy.
As a viewer, I think.
As a viewer,
it's different. It's different.
Personally, I'm glad there aren't more twists than this, because this was enough. This was enough for me. The double was a little crazy there. Okay. Oh no, Ashleigh is texting me saying she can't get back in. She got kicked out. So we're gonna work on Ashleigh here. In the meantime, Melissa, can you is there any more details that we have about this HOH competition?
Yeah. Apparently, it's that they have to press the buzzer when they hear the buzzer. So the buzzer will go off at random times and they'll have to press it. Am I allowed to give an update on if someone has gotten out, or was that heading into
well, we'll do that right now. Yeah. So we'll make that announcement right now. So we are going to go into spoiler territory. If you do not want to know anything about who does well in the HOH competition, now's your time to bow out. But I do believe Trevor Boris said this is a competition that's going to go on all night. So yeah. I think these are very minor spoilers. So Melissa, feel free to go ahead.
Yeah, Dylan is out. He apparently pressed the buzzer before it went off, or the button before it went off. So he is out, supposedly. I got kicked off the feed, so I'm opening it back up again. But
okay.
Yeah, it looks like it's gonna last a long time, because the buzzer has not been going off, and they're just standing there in front of their buttons.
Okay.
So they just have to hit the buzzer when they hear a buzzer?
Yeah, it's one of those random ones where it will just go off and they won't be expecting it, and they'll just have to press it, and whoever hits it last gets out that round, and then they keep going.
Okay, there's
I'm sorry, Dylan is still in.
Dylan is still in. Okay.
So he's not out, but he messed it up. But he's
fake
somehow.
news in the chat is what people are saying.
Sorry for the fake news, guys. I'm so sorry.
Oh, that's okay, Melissa. Don't worry. It's hard to. It's one of the things that Taryn somehow does is like he watches the feeds and he like has conversations and is like paying attention to the podcast at the same time. I'm like, dude, how do you do that? It's kind of impossible.
Got kicked off the chat. I got kicked out the Hangout, then got kicked off the feeds. I've been like trying to keep everything up.
You've got so many things going on. It's kicking people off.
It's crazy.
It kicked Ashleigh off the call, but Ashleigh's back now. So there we go. Let's take this next question. This one's from a friend of the show, Edward Morris, Edmo. Edmo says, how do you guys feel each of your season 3 castmates are doing? So we already talked about Cindy. So let's talk about Kevin and Bruno. Let's start with your boy Kev, Pili. How do you feel Kev is doing this go around?
Kev. So I'm gonna try to make it short. I think he is playing a better, smarter, and sharper game this time because I'm not like I loved our Showmances, don't get me wrong, but playing with the partner and Big Brother could benefit you and could destroy your game, because if you're always seen as a couple, like Dylan and Emily, if they both stay in the house, they were always gonna sit on the block together. Like it's a numbers game. So that's the way I see it. And so Kevin playing as an individual, despite the relationship he has with William, playing as an individual is very good for him, because instead of people targeting him, they're gonna be targeting Dimitris and Anika, or like this, like
yeah. No.
I don't know how else to put it, but yeah. So I think it's really important to have that one person that you like can really trust him, and that's Bruno for him, and that's great because they barely hang out, which like they just get together, share information quickly, and disappear. So I think he's playing a great game. He's really focusing on making not just superficial connections, but really, really genuine connections, like friendships and like caring, and like just making sure he has those like friendships locked, rather than being superficial and just like hi bye, or
Pili, I love you so much, Pili. I just want you to know that you're the best. So great.
He's having a hard time getting people to trust him. Like William is just like not having it. Like,
yeah, well, let's talk about that. And Ashleigh, I want to ask you this: what did you think about this past couple episodes? We've seen William's DR, so we're getting his perspective. Like, William is like really going a little overboard, I feel like, and maybe I'm biased because Kevin's my good buddy, but William's just like, oh, you're just a bitch, Kevin. And like he at the veto ceremony today, he told him to F off. Like, it's all this, like, it's like, what? Like, why is William, like, help me here, Ashleigh. Like, why is William so angry against Kevin?
Ugh, I love it. It's so funny.
Like, I think he's angry because he actually really does like Kevin, and he knows that Kevin is doing it for game, but I honestly think that William kind of is ripping him apart in the DRs and stuff because he's trying to save what people are going to think about him, and he doesn't want it to make it look like he's getting played by Kevin. But I genuinely think that he kind of might sort of be getting played by Kevin, in a sense that sometimes when you feel a certain way towards somebody, you can't really fight that off no matter what. So I honestly think sometimes he's being so mean and over the top because he's trying to save his like self-image about how he doesn't want to look like he's being some little, like a little whatever.
Boy toy, right?
Yeah, I think that he's hurt.
You think he's hurt, Melissa? That's why he doesn't like him?
Totally think he's hurt. And I think that he did start to have feelings for Kevin. And I think that when he found out that Kevin was playing him, whether or not the boy toy comment is true, that probably hurt a lot. And I think that he wanted to show that, you know what, I'm not hurt. I'm fine. I was playing him this whole time, and I think that it makes sense to me. And I'm also loving watching, William be so aggressive in the DR. I think it's so funny. And I think it's good. It's good for his game because he, I feel like he kind of woke up a little, and I think it'll be good for him in the long run to not be so tied to Kevin emotionally.
Yeah. Go ahead, Pili.
Sorry, you guys make a great points, and I agree 100%. And it's like Dre, like she's really, really close to him, and she really, really genuinely cares about him. So she's trying to get him to like, man, like wake up. This is a game, because I can relate to William a little bit. Like, he's like head over heels with Kevin, and like I know Kevin has genuine feelings for him, and like that's great. Like they have a great connection and friendship going on, whatever. But at the same time, it is a game. Like Kevin is trying to play the game, and he's gonna get closer and closer to William as long as he can, because he's on the other side, right? So it's important for him to make that strong connection with at least one person, because then that'll keep him protected. And I think it's a solid game for Kevin, but you know what? Who knows?
We are biased. What did Pili, what did you think when the Big Brother announcer guy was like, previously on Big Brother Canada, William and his showmates Kevin got in the bed? I was like, wait, what? Wait, I was like, Kevin and William are a showmance now? Like, what did you think of that, Pili? Are you a little jealous by the announcer board? What do you say?
I think it's amazing that Kevin's getting some action in the house. No, I'm not jealous. I know Big Brother, and I know production will do they will twist words, twist actions. Like, there's nothing. I'm not against anything at all. Like, I do know it's all production, but I think it's hilarious, and like Kevin's having fun. Like, it's tough in there, right? Like, it's a tough environment, so it's. I think it's hilarious.
But it's not a showmance. Like,
no, and Kevin would hate if that was a label, because he hates labels, and he doesn't want to be seen in a showmance. Like, that's he's not playing it like that.
I mean, they also called Dylan and Emily star-crossed lovers. So I don't know if we can really believe everything the announcer says. So we gotta take it with a grain of salt.
What did you like best, Mumsy? Was it it was the champ and the lady and the champ? It was Beauty and the Greek. And then it was also what was the other one? Oh, I guess it was just William and Kevin, the showman. So of those three, what was your favorite?
Like my favorite name or my favorite actual showman?
Name.
I liked the champ one.
Lady and the Champ. Okay, so good you could remember the name. I personally really liked. I liked Beauty and the Greek. I think that's got a good ring to it.
Showmans.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
I like
very
that
fun
one.
showman. Let's keep going with Edmo's question. This is like 10-minute question. Sorry, Edmo. He wanted to know about everyone from season 3. We talked about Cindy. We talked about Kev. Bruno, Ashleigh, how do you think Bruno's doing this go around?
I think Bruno's playing a very similar game to how he played the first time around, which is not bad because I honestly think he was playing an unreal game his first time around. He just kind of got the short end of the stick with that twist, but everyone knows that no one ever wants to send Bruno home. Everyone, even when we were in the house with them, we're like, oh, we couldn't do that to Bruno. We can't do that to Bruno. It's Bruno. And no one ever goes after him, ever, even though that he's a threat and that you should go after him. He's got some weird, thing that he does
Loving.
that makes you not want to. Yeah, he's loving, and he just reminds you. To me, he reminded me of back home because he was so genuine, and he literally made himself like he was part of. So weird, and I think he's playing an amazing game, and I really hope that he doesn't get in trouble after this week.
Yeah, I hope so too. Sorry, hold on. My sister's trying to have a conversation with me right now about sushi. Yeah. So. Yeah. No. You can have it. You can have that too as well. Yeah, you can have that sushi as well.
That's so funny.
Yes, very funny. But anyway, yes, all the sushi that is on this table that we ate is up for grabs, Emma. Sorry, guys, about that. Okay. Dinner problems. We're on the West Coast here, so it still is around dinner time. This question is from Marjorie Diaz Twine. Marjorie asks, "Will the feeds be down the entire Easter?" Melissa, do you have any? Have you heard anything about this?
I heard that they will not be down.
They will not be down. Okay,
That's
so
what
we
I
can
heard.
confirm that they will not be down. Okay, let's take this question. This one is from Jordan Chong. Jordan says, "Is Dylan the worst BB can player of all time?" Poor Dylan. That's it's unfortunate. What do we? I don't know if Dylan's
Definitely not. Season 2 with Kyle Shore. Yes. Down, worst BB.
Can I jump in quickly?
Jump in, Pili.
I don't think he has a worse. No, he's playing a good game. However, it is Big Brother. You don't give up your Big Brother life like that. For a second, we all thought that. I don't even know if it was air or not, but he gave up on his game at one point because he didn't want to compete against Emily. I get it. You guys are genuine friends, but you can't give up your life on Big Brother like that. It reminded me of US season. What's it called? What's his name?
Clay, when he was on the block with
Yes.
Shelly and BB17,
Yes.
he was like,
Yes.
I'll go home. He was gonna stay too.
Thousands of people would die to be in that house and play the game. You don't give up like that. I'm sorry, you came in the house alone. There's only one winner. You can't. You just can't.
What
Sorry.
do you think? What do you think, Ashleigh? How do you feel about Dylan's game?
I don't think he's that horrible. I kind of like Dylan, even though he did tie himself really close with Emily, and now Emily's gone. I don't really know where he's gonna go. Is he gonna go with Kevin and Bruno? Is he gonna go to the Ika side? He's kind of has his own thing now where he can reinvent his game.
I think it's a perfect opportunity for Kevin and Bruno to pull him in for sure for another number on him. So I think Dylan is the clear winner of the double eviction. He survived both evictions.
Yeah.
And now he's going to be pulled into a strong duo, I think. So I think he's in a good position.
Yeah, I really do. Because Melissa, who's got in for Dylan at this point, right? There are bigger fish to fry, are there not?
Yeah, I definitely think so. And I just want to say one thing that, everybody's been saying that Dylan and Emily are so stupid for getting mad at Kevin and Bruno for not using the veto on them, or for Kevin not using the veto. I don't necessarily think that's so stupid that they would get mad at them, because in their minds, they're in an alliance with them. They think they're all valued members of the alliance. So when he doesn't use it, they're like, what the heck? Why wouldn't you try and at least get one of the people of your alliance off? They didn't know for sure that Bruno was going to go on the block at that point. So they're not thinking, oh, Kevin wants to make sure Bruno doesn't get on the block because those two are the closest. They're thinking, wait, I thought we were all in an alliance together. Why are we not all being valued? Well, like, this can't be a real alliance. So I could see where they were coming from when they were getting so upset with it. People were saying, that's so stupid. Don't they know that Kevin and Bruno would want to save each other? Maybe they don't know. And I think that I would be upset if I was in their position and like someone in my alliance didn't use the veto on me. So, I mean, I totally see where they're coming from. And I just had to say that because that's been kind of bothering me all week.
Yeah. So from the episode, like we saw, like it didn't look like Bruno, there was a confrontation about the hot tub with Dylan and Emily and Bruno, and then Kevin comes back and they're upset. Melissa, did Bruno or Kevin explicitly say, hey, like, did Kevin just say, hey, look, I value you guys, yes, but Bruno is my number one and I had to keep him safe? He didn't say that.
He didn't say Bruno's my number one. He just said, we didn't want Bruno going on the block. If one of you came off, Bruno was going up. He's another member of our alliance. Why would we want that? But he didn't explicitly say, well, Bruno's my number one. I want to keep him safe for sure. So if you guys are expendable, he just wasn't saying that to them. And so I could see why they would keep getting more and more upset with him, because it just, to their minds, they think they're in a 5-person alliance and that alliance is just solid. And it didn't come off that way when Kevin didn't save one of them.
Right. Yeah, it's a tough situation to be in. I'm trying to think, like, Mumsy, for you, like in your season, who was it you went against? Yeah, you went against Pop and Paul, right? When you voted him out, like.
Oh yes, that one was. Well, no, that was really going against either the Girls Alliance or the First Five.
Okay, yeah. So like, yeah, it's. I thought we could make some sort of comparison there, but I don't really think we can. It didn't involve a veto, but that's okay. All right, I'm just trying to look through the questions here. I don't really see a ton else here that we want to get into. If you have a question you want to send in last minute, use hashtag RHAPpy. Oh, here's one. This one is from Jen Wyatt. Jen says, do you think Big Brother Canada should do the no booing rule for evictions like BBUS does?
Yes, I hate that. I think it's terrible. I think it's vicious. I don't like it at hockey games. I don't like it in Big Brother.
Wow. Well,
yeah, and I
hockey
don't
games
think
is fair game, but
I don't think they should have the people standing behind Arissa that you can see on the screen cheering or booing or whatever they're doing, because they were making it well known that they were happy that Netta was leaving or whatever, and like they shouldn't be able to hear all the boos, and then Ika shouldn't be able to stand up and be like, yes, Canada, like we're doing this for you or whatever she said. Like it kind of taints the game, because also Netta started playing differently after she found out that Canada hated her. So I just feel like it's totally unfair to have the game tainted like that. Yeah,
I agree with that too. And you know, Pili, Ash, like we could hear on our season, right? In the house, you hear that. Like when I got blindsided, I heard the audience was like, yeah, that's so good.
I guess the point where it really does affect the game. Do you remember the one time it was Brittany who had the sole power to evict either Pili or Godfrey?
Right.
She evicted Pili. That's when Pili went home on the double. And there was somebody standing behind Arissa, kind of like going like this to Brittany. Like,
oh, yes.
What are you doing? And right after that, Brittany's like, did I make the right decision? And like she was constantly thinking about her game and like what changes. So people making noises and people being there, it kind of alters the game and how people play in there. Like I hate it. I hate it. And people already feel bad when they get voted out, and having somebody boo on top of that is just disgusting.
I'm gonna tell you something really quickly. So Kevin and I talked about this because it's kind of funny. So because we see like the impact from the outside world to us house guests being in the house, we not knowing what's going on out there. So like imagine if for example HOH got to have a cell phone for a day and go through social media and whatever and just like read like all these comments of like people are agreeing, disagreeing, agree. That after reading those comments, it would change your game. But how do you know? Like it plays with your mind. Like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing this right. It's like almost like knowing the future and trying to fix it when it's not meant to be. You know what I mean?
It totally does.
I agree 100% with you guys. Like, it shouldn't be allowed. It shouldn't be a thing that house guests are able to hear the audience, because it plays with their head. It makes you wonder, oh my gosh, did I not? Like, it should, like, if we're not allowed, if we're not supposed to have any contact with the outside world, we shouldn't be able to hear that.
Yeah. And I mean, even just in this specific instance, I'm looking at the live chat as I do the podcast, and it totally affects me. Like, if I see people going, no, Melissa, no, you're wrong, I'm like, oh shoot, like, am I saying something that's so awful? Like, I should stop. I should say something else. Like, it totally, even just like this little chat box, it totally affects me.
Right. No, totally. And when, especially when you're in that house, you're in that environment, you're so cut off from everything. You're just dying for like one thing that is going to give you some insight into the outside world. And when, it's a cheer, even it's like one thing, you're going to take that and just be like, oh my God, like this is huge. Like this, I have to do this now, right? Yeah, like you're saying with Britt, Ashleigh, is that just completely shifted your mindset. Same with Bobby. When Bobby told me in jury, when he's like, yeah, man, when I evicted you, he's like, I heard the loudest cheer I have ever heard in my entire life, because he was the final vote to evict me. And he's like, yeah, I knew instantly. I'm like, okay, great, I'm on the right path and I'm doing the right kind of stuff in the game. And you know what? I mean, as great as that was for Bobby and as great as it is for some people, I don't know if that's necessarily. I think I think they can, avoid that.
There's so much hate and so much love that you can't like rely on those like comments, or like there's a lot of opinions, and people are gonna disagree, agree, like they might be wrong, like.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
It's putting the audience bias into a game that, like we talked about this even before the season. If, people we knew were going back in, do you give them advice or do you not? Because my bias against something or my thought process might actually hurt someone's game. So the bias, in a game where Big Brother tries so hard to cut you off from everything. Like, the whole point is to not know. You're in sequester. Then, in jury, you're sequestered again. So to give those hints and to give that information, I do think is game changing. I mean, I was trying to do the numbers in my head to think, if they didn't know Canada hated Netta, and I'm putting that in my fake little quotations, would she have had the numbers to stay? I don't think so still, but would Kevin have struggled? Would he have, you know what I mean? Like, would the votes have been that intense? And especially when you have returning vets who know that Canada plays such an integral role in your game, it really does give them a leg up, or maybe veers them on a different direction or whatever. And I just don't think that's how the game is supposed to be played.
Totally. And like, how do we know that the immunity that they gave Netta was maliciously supposed to be? You know what I mean? Like, how do we know it wasn't like a hateful thing to do? Oh, let's ruin her game, let's screw her game, let's vote for her, or vice versa. Like, I also think that people lean towards Ika's side after finding out that Netta was hated, in quotes. So I think that totally affected the game, and why Cindy might have gone to Ika rather than Netta, because people started to say, oh, I'm glad I picked the good side. And so it absolutely affected the game.
How many people are going to run to Ika's side now? Like, I feel like that also, even people still in the house, that still affects the game, because Netta was closely aligned with Kevin and Bruno. People are going to want to work with Kevin and Bruno now.
Yeah. Canada was booing when Netta was trashing Ika.
Yeah.
Right? So now there's a hint there that Ika is this, golden child.
Yeah.
And so that might help Ika's game, but it might hurt Ika's game. And again, I just think it's an unfair thing to happen in that house.
I think that's huge for Ika's game, really, because I think that, a lot of people, I didn't even think about that, is the booing thing. Clearly Ika is hearing it, she's acknowledging, and she's like, see, look, Canada hates her, blah, blah, blah. But I do think, people are going to interpret that as, hey, Ika's powerful. People like Ika. We got to work to Ika. They're going to jump to Ika. I think, though, what's going to happen is that Ika's going to get a lot of power. She's going to become the queen of the house.
Yep.
She's going to be the top dog. And then it's going to be the same thing all over again, where people are like, oh, well, Ika's, running the show. I don't like her now, blah, blah, blah. Kind of like the same thing with Netta. So it's just like, you can't really win. I mean, if you're in there.
The viewers are very fickle.
They are.
They will turn on you in a second.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. I want to ask this question to you, Melissa. This one is from Desi Bellarose. Desi says, "How is the French Connection's position in the house moving forward?" So, yeah, what are things looking like for William and Dre now that that Ned is out of there?
I mean, I think it's pretty good. I mean, because now Ika is the new queen bee, I guess, and Ika likes them, and Ika was working with them. So I think generally, I mean, it all depends who wins HOH and how this whole thing shakes out. But I don't think it necessarily changes their position. If anything, it makes their position better.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think they are in a good spot. Let's take this last question before we start to wind things down. This one is from @WilliamsPajamas. William says, "What's your guys' take on Kevin and Karen? She's talking smack about him right now, and he's 5 feet away from him. She's 5 feet away from him. So, Ashleigh, what do you think about this whole Kevin and Karen dynamic? He's Jeffrey Dahmer one day. He's, it's like all this crazy stuff she has on him. I don't know why.
I secretly love the Karen and Kevin relationship. I know they're constantly kind of at each other, and it's so entertaining. But I genuinely feel like at the end of the day, like outside the house, I feel like they're gonna be really good friends. To be honest, I feel like it's more of like a very. It's not harmful. The relationship's not harmful. But I know Karen kind of said that she does want Kevin gone, so I don't know. I don't know what to think about it because I love it, but it's not good for him.
Yeah, it's really it's that whole relationship, Pili. I mean, what do you think about that? Because for me, like some of it, I hear what Ashley's saying. Like some of it's like, oh yeah, it's like not that malicious, but then like, yeah, the Jeffrey Dahmer thing, like it's just like what? It's just so over the top.
I think I watch Life is constantly, and from obviously I get more information from Life is than from the show itself, like the episodes. But I think Karen genuinely didn't trust Kevin at first, and she's a very honest person and can be ruthless. And Kevin's a very sensitive guy, and he doesn't show his emotions. Like it takes him a really hard time to open up to people. And he does have a poker face. Like it is hard to trust him. But like if he's like she was not attacking him, but she was saying like what is he a Capricorn? What is he in January?
Wait, you're the
okay, whatever he is, he's like whatever he is, he's like, yeah, they're not trustworthy or something. She said something stupid like that. And it really bothered Kevin. And then she was just talking about Survivor and other things. And Kevin's like, okay, can we address this and like just like talk about this? Like, I'm really like, this is as real as I will get. Like, so long story short, she just doesn't trust him. And like Kevin's like, he's had the hardest time to trying to put the wall down, and that's never gonna happen. He finally came to the conclusion that it's never and it will never happen, no matter what he says to her. That being said, they can just have fun with it. I think they will be really good friends at the end of the day. It's like picking at each other. I think they're just doing it for fun now. Like Karen calls him the Kevin Martin. Like I think it's for shits and giggles now. I don't think they trust each other on the game, obviously, like in a game level, obviously. But I think they're just doing it for fun right now. I'm just like whatever. I think it's hilarious.
So chat room is talking about the motivations of Cindy getting rid of Netta. And again, Brent Walgamot in the chat saying that the reason why she did this to save the 6. And people in the chat seem to agree with that. Melissa, what do you think about that? Is that what Cindy was going for, trying to preserve the 6 and keep it together? And if so, can whatever remains of the 6, can it be saved? Melissa? Oh, did she freeze? Oh no, Melissa froze. So Melissa did freeze. So
yeah. Okay, I'm back.
There we go. You're back. Okay. So what do you think about that, Melissa?
I definitely think that could be a huge motivating reason for Cindy to do that, because Ika kept telling her, Netta will tear this alliance apart. Netta will be the downfall of this alliance. And Cindy, this whole time, has been trying to keep them together. And I think in Cindy's mind, if she had just gotten rid of, like that Netta was the common denominator for all the, the turmoil and inner issues. But if they got rid of Netta, then you know, then they could reconvene as a 5 and move forward to the end. I don't think she necessarily sees that maybe Ika and Dimitris are doing their own thing. But I think that she thought that this could bring them all together and fix everything, which I don't know if that's really going to happen.
Yeah, I feel like Sarah, what do you think about this? Do you think it's better in terms of the 6 trying to stay together? Do you think it's better to keep Ika in there? But like, maybe it's a bad question to ask you. Because you're in a tough, so you don't want to say anything bad about either of them. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like, from my perspective, watching the feeds, Ika is the one saying this alliance doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything for me. Why don't you guys? You're not loyal to me. All this stuff. And Netta is trying to get. Everyone's trying to pull everything together. If you're trying to keep the 6 as a thing, would it not make sense to get rid of the person who's, who keeps talking smack about the 6?
Well, again, I think that just talks a little bit about Ika's social game in the sense that obviously that was her decision. Like, she picked Ika in the end over Netta. The problem with Netta, again, is that would you rather be sitting next to Ika in final 2 or Netta in final 2?
Yeah, I'd rather sit just next to Ika, yeah.
And then also we have the situation where for the past 5 weeks, Netta has not really been that easy going. Like, she's not been super easy going when it comes to these decisions. She's kind of been like a hard and fast, this is what we're going to do. Once in a while she'll listen to somebody else's pitch, but at the end of the day, Netta got her way every time. And does this alliance want to play out that way for the rest of the season? No. So I can see how this kind of deteriorated to this point. I'm heartbroken over it. I hate it, but I can see how it kind of led to this point.
Ashleigh, Pili, you want to jump in on this?
Go Ash first. Sorry, I was distracted.
I'm too sad to talk right now. I feel like I said what I said before. I'm sad for Netta. It was a good game move and everything, but yeah, I'm sad the way she left. She deserved to go out better than that, I think.
Yeah, like every time someone gets evicted sucks. Like, you feel for them, but like a double eviction, like an instant eviction, something like you're not expecting, it's tough to witness, let alone to live it. And just watching Netta, like, she was broken. Like, she was devastated. She couldn't even talk because she was crying so, like, it was almost speechless, right? Like there's no words to describe how upset she was. Despite with the position she was in, just going out like that, it was like a punch in the face. Her immunity's up, she's out. Like,
yeah, I mean, I see why Cindy would go for Netta rather than going for Ika, because at this point, Ika and Dimitris are portraying to Cindy that they want to save the 6. They want to be a part of this alliance, but they just can't because of one person. One person's getting in the way of this great alliance that's going to take it to the end. And so Cindy's thinking, okay, either if I get rid of Ika, then Dimitris pissed at me, and and the 6 still doesn't come together. But if I get rid of this one person that's throwing the wrench in all of our plans, according to Dimitris and Ika, then we can have our 6 or our 5. And so I totally see why she wouldn't try and get out someone like Ika when Ika's got Dimitris on her side, and why she wouldn't get out Kevin or Bruno while they've got each other on each side. But the way that it was being portrayed to her was that the one problem was Netta.
Yeah. All right. Well, crazy night. What Mumsy just did sums it up. Oh man, I'm gonna need to. I don't know. I'm gonna just need to breathe after this. I think we all do. Yeah, we're all gonna have to hug it out. We wish we were all together, and so we could all hug this out. But virtual hugs for everyone. We love you. We love you very much. All right, guys. So time for me to make this announcement that we hyped up at the beginning of the show. I don't know if we really hyped it up, but there were some people that were in the chat that were like, yeah, you could hype me up, right? There were some people in the chat were like, oh my God, what's going on? And Brent said in the chat, he's like, oh, I know what it is. JP's coming out as gay. No, I'm not coming out of the, I'm not coming out of the closet.
Not yet.
No.
So tune in next
Maybe.
week.
Stay tuned.
tuned.
Maybe it is next week. We're gonna change it to the announcement hour. That's what it's gonna be. Just announcements all day. But no, without further ado, I'm just gonna rip this off like a band-aid because I'm known for going on and on and on and on about things without actually saying anything. This is my last season of doing the RHAPpy Hour. Yeah, there I said it. It is. I'm really sorry. This was a really hard decision to make, but it was something that had to be done. I'm really sorry, guys. And I know people are gonna say, they're gonna be like, "Oh, just because Netta went home, you're quitting," or "Oh, because of this, you're quitting," or whatever. No, that was not. You want to give me the stage? You can hang out here, Mums. It's okay. This was something that I came to this decision a couple of weeks ago. And it did not have to do with any of this stuff. It's just something where I was reflecting on where I'm at in my life. And I realized that, this isn't really positive for me right now. And it's not so much it's not the podcast. I love the podcast. I love this community. I love RHAPpy. But I do need a break from the Big Brother community. I think the Big Brother community, if you're watching this online or listening to this or wherever you're hearing this, Big Brother community is a little crazy. It's a little toxic at times. It can be very negative. I get a lot of negative feedback. And, to be honest with you guys, I'm not the kind of person who, before I started doing this, before I got on Big Brother, I wasn't a person who had people on a regular basis tell me how much I suck or, all this other stuff. I was just used to going about my day. It's been that's been a thing. I think another thing for me as well is that I'm tired. I've done since right after I got off the show, like, I don't know, it was like a couple weeks later, I started doing Big Brother 17 podcasts. And then we had, we had BB Camp 4, BB 18, BB OTT, then BB Camp 5. So that's, 5 seasons. It's really been a lot in 2 years. I just need a break. I think for me, the show has, I don't have the passion for the show that I used to have. And I think maybe that's because I'm burnt out. Maybe because I think especially the US version of the show has suffered in terms of quality. I don't really enjoy the show as much as I used to back in the day. So that's kind of the reason, for where I'm coming from. I told Rob in the LFC a couple weeks ago, so they know. Melissa can confirm this isn't just a new thing. I've been holding on to this for a while. I just wanted to wait a little bit, think it out a bit before I officially announced it. But yeah, that's my decision. I know that I was involved in some Twitter drama this past weekend. That has nothing to do with it as well. That is something that, and just to lay it all out there for you guys. So it came out on the live feeds that Ika and Kevin both said, hey, JP told us to vote out Cindy first, which is true to an extent. Yes, before the season started, Ika and Kevin both reached out to me at separate points. They said, hey, do you want me to get rid of Cindy first? And I said, yeah, awesome. If you can get rid of Cindy first, that's great. But, don't ruin your game to go do it. I didn't go reach out to every single person. I didn't call people up and say, yeah, I voted, Netta voted Cindy, blah, blah, blah. No, I didn't say any of that. It was just a situation where talking before the game, they asked me if I would like that. I said, if you can, great. So that happened, led to some drama. Some people were coming at me on Twitter, some former house guests, some various other things. I've apologized for it. I know I messed up. That's a big scumbag move of me to do. But unfortunately it happened. And I am sorry. I'm sorry to Cindy. I'm sorry to Cindy's fans. I will say I have done a complete 180 on Cindy since the season has started. I think if you listen to this podcast regularly, that I actually am kind of rooting for Cindy this season. I think she's doing a really good job. And I think she's, in a really great position in this game. So I do really regret it. And it sucks. But that doesn't have anything to do with my decision. My decision came 2 weeks ago. This thing just happened, I think it was like Monday that this all came out. So anyway, I just wanted to let you guys know about that. Led into a huge thing. Mumsy was there as well, but with some of the Twitter drama. But I just wanted to let you guys know that, that's the case. I'm not being fired. Rob didn't fire me. He didn't say, Jordan, you're out. No, this is 100% my decision. Not as into it as I used to be. That's not fair to you guys. You guys deserve the best. I'm sure you guys are wondering, hey, what's going to happen? Is the happy hour still a thing? Like, what's going on? I believe the plan is that Rob is going to retire the happy hour. The LFC are still going to do their own, weekly show. So just keep on the, they've started that. They're going to keep doing that. I think during BB19 and beyond. So hopefully, that will hopefully that'll keep going, and I think that the first one went really well, and I think that it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm sorry, I'm just going through my notes. There's a lot of things I just wanted to touch upon. Other thing I want to let you guys know is, I'm not starting another podcast or anything either. Like, this is it. Like, I'm done talking about BB. Don't think like I'm just going off to start my own thing. Anti-RHAP, Team RHAP forever. I want to thank Rob, Scott St. Pierre, the LFC, everybody who's been so supportive of me. Rob took a chance on me 2 years ago. He didn't have to. And it really meant a lot that he did that. And I really, really appreciate that. And he'll always have my loyalty and respect. So I'm not going to go off and do that. I do have a fantasy football podcast that I do. So if you want to listen to that, you can still listen to that. And I'm still going to do that. But that has nothing to do with Big Brother. So just to let you guys know, basically, that's pretty much it there that I wanted to lay out. I'm just trying to think if there's anything else here. So just so you guys know, just so there's no confusion, I will stay on for the rest of the season. But once this season is over, I will bid you farewell. But I'm not dying. I'm still alive. I think this is going to be good. So I know this is very somber. What?
No one's going to ask me to be on podcasts anymore.
Peter Wyatt.
No.
My last season.
JP, we love you.
Hey, I love you guys, and thank you so much to everybody who has been supporting me since day one. I mentioned I have a lot of people who really don't like me, but I have a lot of people that have been really, really supportive of me since day one, and you guys know who you are, and I really, really appreciate you so much. I mean, seriously, it means the world that you guys have had my back and you've been there for me, to help me live out a dream of mine doing this podcast. It's been such a fun ride, but unfortunately, this is the end of the road for me, and I need to move on with my life and get, work towards my teaching career, which is what I really want to focus on with my schooling and work and volunteering and everything that's, taking up so much of my time. So anyway, if you have any questions, if you're concerned, it's just kind of like when your parents split up or something. So if you want to know, it's me, it's not you. If you have it, if you want to know something, send me an email. I'll gladly explain, my thought process, and I'll lay this all out. It's parharjordan@gmail.com, and I'll gladly, just give me my reasons. And, if you have any questions or anything like that, then feel free to go ahead. And, yes, parharjordan@gmail.com. Feel free to email me. But yeah, so the decision is final. I've made it. There's no getting me back. This is going to be the retirement Parhardy. We're going to go, do my rounds. We're going to say goodbye these last few weeks, and we're going to have lots of fun, and we're going to be dancing. It's going to be good. So I just wanted to thank everybody for being there for me and for all the love and support. You guys have been the best. It's been a great 2 years. And those are the honest to God reasons. Reddit, don't try to come up with any other reasons, because that is the honest truth. There's nothing else. This is my genuine feelings. I know you're going to come up with some other reasons because you make yeah, I'm going to Big Brother rehab is what I'm going to. But anyway, sign us all up for BB rehab. But anyway, I just wanted to let you guys know. Thank you so much. I'll be back next Wednesday. Don't forget, Rob's sister Nina will have an exit interview, I believe, with Netta. Should be tomorrow or the next day, so keep an eye out for that. The LFC will be back on Sunday at some point, talking about the live feeds, and then Monday, Rob will be back talking about BB Can 5 again after the episode. So I'll be back next Wednesday. Can't wait to see you guys there. Usually we have a hashtag for the episode. I guess what should be, this is kind of like a funeral, was it not?
Hashtag RHAPjp.
Hashtag RHAPjp. We could do that if you want. Sure. If you want to do that. And someone's asking, also one other thing, very important. Rob is doing a live show in Toronto Thursday, May 11th. If you were in the greater Toronto area, and you want to go check that out, it's going to be after the eviction that night. So talking about BB Can 5, hoping to get some other house guests that are going to go there. I will not be able to attend because I live in Vancouver, other side of the country, and I can't afford to make 2 flights out there for that and the finale. So just so you guys know, I will not be at that trip or at that show, but you can buy tickets for that, and I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. LFC will be there, and I think you'll have a lot of fun. But anyway, guys, Thank you so much. I don't know any other way to end this podcast. So I'll see you next week. Ashleigh, Pili, Mumsy, Melissa, thank you guys so much. This was so much fun. You guys are the best. All right, I will. So I don't even know how to sign this off. There's no hashtag. So for Ashleigh Wood, Pili Nemer, Sarah Miller, and Melissa Deni, I am Jordan Parhar. Hashtag no hashtag. We'll talk to you soon. Take care. Peace out.